What if the path to peace isn't found in forcing yourself to forget, but in learning a new way to be present with what arises? Most of us are taught to deal with persistent thoughts by either fighting them or fleeing from them. Don't think about it. Just move on. But no matter how many times we repeat those words, the thoughts return, sometimes quieter, sometimes stronger, always unfinished. But Buddhism offers another way, a middle path, not resistance, not indulgence, but awareness. In this part, we won't try to remove the thoughts that visit you. Instead, we'll explore how to relate to them differently, how to meet each one not as a threat, but as a teacher. You'll discover that healing doesn't come from control. It comes from clarity, from cultivating the space in which thoughts can rise, breathe, and dissolve without defining you. You'll learn practices that don't just manage mental activity, they transform it. Tools that bring you back to the present moment, where suffering softens and wisdom quietly awakens. The question is no longer, how do I stop thinking about them? It becomes, can I stay present even when they arise? And in that simple shift, something profound begins to unfold. Applying Buddhist practices to transform mental fixation. Practices like metta, tonglen, noting, and returning to the breath allow you to witness rather than identify with thoughts. You cannot think your way out of obsessive thinking. That's the paradox. The more you try to control, suppress, or argue with your thoughts, the more entangled you become. The path forward is not through mental force, but through mindful presence. Buddhism offers simple, time-tested practices to help you step out of the storm of thinking and into the calm center of awareness. These aren't techniques to make thoughts go away. They're ways to change your relationship with them, to loosen the grip, soften the charge, and rediscover the peace already within you. One such practice is noting or labeling. When a thought about someone arises, you simply acknowledge it. Thinking. Then return to your breath or body. You don't follow the storyline. You don't judge yourself. You just recognize the movement of mind and gently come home to the present. Another is the practice of metta, or loving kindness. When the thought of that person returns, silently offer, "May you be happy. May you be free from suffering. May you live with ease." This isn't about denying your pain or pretending all is well. It's about releasing yourself from resentment, from needing things to have ended differently. Often, it is not love that binds us to someone. It's unresolved aversion. Metta cuts that tether, not by pushing away, but by expanding the space in which forgiveness becomes possible. There is also tonglen, the practice of breathing in pain, not just your own, but the pain of all who suffer from thoughts they cannot escape, and breathing out peace, comfort, spaciousness. It is a radical act of compassion that transforms isolation into connection. And sometimes, the practice is as simple as returning to the breath, feeling the cool air at your nostrils, the rise and fall of your belly, the warmth of your hands resting in your lap. These small anchors remind you, this is now, this is real, this is enough. Each of these practices doesn't seek to erase the thought, but to return your power to choose how you meet it. When you learn to stay present without fear, something begins to change. Not always outside, but always within. The thought may still arise, but it no longer carries you away, because now you are anchored in practice, in presence, in peace. Shifting from identification to pure awareness. You are not your thoughts. Awareness is the open sky. thoughts are just passing clouds. There's a subtle but powerful shift that changes everything, not by altering your thoughts, but by seeing them differently. Most of us live from a place of identification. A thought arises, they hurt me, I miss them, I'll never move on. And we believe it without question. We absorb it. We wear it like a name tag. This is who I am. This is my truth. But Buddhism teaches that thoughts are not the self. They are appearances in the mind, like clouds in the sky or waves on the ocean. They come, they go. Some linger, some pass quickly. But none of them are you. So who are you? You are the awareness in which the thoughts arise, the quiet space that notices the storm, but is never disturbed by it. This awareness is vast, open, and steady, unmoved by the changing weather of the mind. When you shift from being in the thought to being the witness of it, something begins to dissolve. The story loses its grip. The emotions soften. You begin to see clearly, here is longing. Here is anger. Without judgment, without running, just presence. This is the heart of meditative insight. Not to eliminate thought, but to recognize its nature. You can try this now. Close your eyes. Breathe softly. When a thought about that person arises, don't push it away. Don't follow it. Just notice, a thought is here. Then ask gently, who is noticing this thought? Rest in that noticing. That is awareness. That is your true nature. The more you practice, the more you come to trust that you are not the thoughts that visit your mind. You are not defined by desire, by memory, by regret. You are the sky that holds it all. From this place, even persistent thoughts lose their power. Not because you fought them, but because you saw through them. And when you stop mistaking thoughts for identity, something sacred is restored. Your freedom. The empty boat principle, non-resistance to thoughts. When you stop reacting, the mind naturally finds peace, like realizing the boat that hit you was empty all along. There's an old Zen story that goes like this. A man was rowing his boat across a misty lake when another boat came crashing into his. Furious, he stood up, ready to shout at the careless stranger. But then the fog lifted, and he saw that the other boat was empty. No one to blame, just a vessel drifting on the current. And just like that, his anger dissolved. This story holds a profound teaching. When we drop the story, the suffering often fades. What if the thoughts that haunt you are like that empty boat? What if they're not personal? What if they're not even about them or you in the way you've believed? Buddhist practice invites us to see thoughts not as threats or truths, but as movements of mind, passing, impersonal, conditioned. Just like that drifting boat, your persistent thought may have no intention, no target, no meaning beyond its arising in the stream of consciousness. Yet we attach to it. We assign meaning. They must still matter if I'm thinking about them. I should be over this. There's something wrong with me. And with each layer of interpretation, we make the boat full again. We give it a driver, a destination, a drama. But what if we didn't? What if you simply noticed the thought and let it pass? What if, instead of reacting with resistance, you responded with space? This is non-resistance, not apathy, not avoidance, but a quiet willingness to let the mind move without needing to control its every ripple. You don't have to brace against the wave. You can float with it. Watch it rise, watch it fall. You may even begin to smile when the thought returns, not out of resignation, but out of understanding. Ah, the boat again. And then you return to your breath. Return to your body. Return to the present. The less you fight the thought, the less it fights you. And in that space of allowing, something miraculous happens. You realize the boat was always empty, and you were always free. The mind heals itself when given the right conditions. You don't need to force yourself to move on. You simply need to create space through mindfulness and compassion. A cut on your hand doesn't need you to heal it. It just needs you to stop picking at it. Likewise, the mind knows how to heal, if only we stop interfering. Often when we struggle with persistent thoughts, we believe we must do something. Analyze, suppress, fix, solve them. But Buddhist wisdom reminds us that healing is not something we force. It's something we allow. Like a gardener tending a field, you cannot pull the plant upward to make it grow faster. What you can do is create the right conditions: fertile soil, sunlight, water, patience, and trust the rest to nature. The same is true for your thoughts. If you keep wrestling with them, demanding answers, judging yourself, trying to force them out, you're stirring up the soil, muddying the water. But if you bring gentle awareness, a non-judgmental gaze, and compassionate presence, something begins to settle. The pain doesn't disappear overnight. The memories may still surface, but over time, you begin to notice a shift, not in the content of your mind, but in your relationship to it. Instead of being caught inside the thought, you're resting around it. Instead of reacting with fear or urgency, you respond with space. This space is what allows healing to take root. The practice here is simple, though not always easy. When the thought arises, pause. Come back to your breath, back to your body. Name what you feel: grief, hope, anger, longing. Welcome it. Feel it. Breathe with it. No commentary, no fixing, just presence. In this space, the mind begins to unwind. What once felt like tight knots slowly loosen. What once demanded your attention now passes more quietly, like wind through tall grass. There's a teaching that says, you don't have to chase the mind. You only need to stop running from it. And when you stop running, you'll discover what was there all along. A natural clarity beneath the turbulence. A quiet wisdom beneath the noise. The mind doesn't need to be silenced. It only needs to be seen. And when it is, it begins to heal itself, gently, patiently, in its own time. Freedom comes, not by eliminating thoughts, but by changing how you relate to them. You don't need to stop thoughts from arising. You only need to stop letting them define you. We often think that peace means silence, that if the thoughts would finally stop, we could rest, that if their face, their name, their memory would just disappear, we could be free. But Buddhist wisdom offers a different truth, one both more realistic and more liberating. You don't need to eliminate the thoughts. You only need to stop being ruled by them. Freedom doesn't come when the mind is empty. It comes when the mind is met with understanding. A thought may arise, painful, vivid, intrusive, but if you don't grasp it, if you don't resist it, if you simply notice it, then something powerful happens. The thought is no longer in control. You are no longer its captive. You are its witness. This is the shift that changes everything. Instead of saying, "Why am I still thinking about them?" you begin to say, "Ah, here is a thought. I see you. You're welcome to pass." And the moment you say that, the thought loses its urgency. It may stay for a while, but it no longer defines you. It no longer carries you away. This is the power of mindful awareness, not to destroy thought, but to see it as it truly is, passing, impermanent, impersonal. Like a bird flying across the sky, a thought crosses your awareness. The sky doesn't cling, it doesn't push away, it simply holds. And you, your true self, are that sky. As this perspective deepens, a quiet freedom grows, not the kind that waits for silence, but the kind that shines in the midst of noise, not the kind that depends on forgetting, but the kind that remembers differently. So no, you don't need to get over the person. You don't need to erase the thought. You simply need to relate to it differently. From fear to curiosity, from judgment to compassion, from resistance to presence. And in that shift, you discover something deeper than forgetting. You discover peace. Not because the thought is gone, but because it no longer holds your heart hostage. You don't need to erase the past to be free. You only need to stop clinging to it. Through mindfulness, compassion, and gentle awareness, you begin to see thoughts not as burdens, but as passing clouds, inviting you to return again and again to the open sky within. Freedom was never about forgetting. It was always about remembering who you truly are. Not the thought, not the pain, but the vast stillness that holds it all.